What's up, team? In this video we're going to be checking out both waves and UAD versions of three of the most iconic compressors in the industry. I'm talking about the 1176, the LA-2A and the API 2500. We're going to be discussing the difference between them, specifically in the controls that each of the plugins have, the price, and of course the character. My name is Sebastian, I'm a music producer. I'm always learning, and whatever I feel is interesting and valuable I'm going to be sharing with you guys. So with all that said, let's dive right in. So first of all, a little bit on these compressors. The 1176 is a FET compressor. FET stands for Field Effect Transistor. We don't need to know exactly how it works, but we do need to know that this kind of compression allows for very fast attack and release times. Now, this particular compressor has an attack time that goes from 20 to 800 microseconds. That's 0.8 milliseconds at the slowest setting. Now that's fast. This compressor is known for being very colorful, which means it adds lots of harmonic distortion. Some words to describe this compressor would be aggression and punch. That's why it's very common to see it on drum tracks, vocals, bass, and on guitar. Next, we have the LA-2A, which is an opto compressor, which means that uses light in order to know how much to compress. This is a more natural sounding and warm compressor, more gentle, transparent. Because of that, it's very common to see it on vocals, bass, and on the mix bus. It's got very minimal controls, only peak reduction and gain. Like the 1176, it's got a set value for the threshold, but unlike the 1176, it's got a set value for the attack and the release. The attack is about 10 milliseconds, but it's dependent on the program, and the release time has a 60 millisecond value for the first 50% of recovery, and then it's also variable. Lastly, we have the API 2500. Now, the API 2500 is a VCA compressor. VCA stands for voltage controlled amplifier. That kind of compression is what gives this particular compressor its clean and transparent character, and for this reason is most commonly used as a mix bus or drum bus compressor. Now, some other distinguishing characteristics on this compressor are the amount of controls. It has the threshold, ratio, attack and release controls, but also it has a knee control, a tone control, unlink the left to right channels so that it compresses them separately, and other kinds of controls. Regarding price, as of right now, you can get the Waves CLA-76 and the LA-2A for $35 each, and you can get the API 2500 for $40. There's a great deal right now for the UAD plugins. You can get the collection of the 1176 simulation for $49, and you can get the LA-2A for $19. Now, let's get into the DAW and see some of these compressors in action. Here we have a 440 tone. It's a sine wave, and it corresponds with the note A. So let's hear it. And now let me play an A note on the piano. Of course, we recognize that that's a piano and we can distinguish it from the 440 tone. The reason why we can do that is because of the harmonic content. When we look at the 440 tone, we can see it right here. This is what it looks like. But if we listen to the piano now, we get the same 440 tone here, but also we get these other frequencies here. We get one corresponding with 880, then we have 1323. We have lots of frequencies. It corresponds with different harmonics, but the sum of all these frequencies is what gives the piano its characteristic sound. That and the envelope, which is the way that sound transforms over time. One of the reasons why each compressor has its particular sound is because of these harmonics. Now, let's listen to a 200 Hertz sine wave. And we're going to turn on the 1176 from waves first. So here we see the frequency, and now, okay, now we see all the additional harmonics here. right? Let's see what happens when we turn on the 1176 from UAD. You see, it's not the same. There's a difference here. This is the UAD, this is the waves. And it's very, you can hear it clearly. It has a different effect on the sound. Now, let's turn on the LA-2A from waves. You see, it also adds frequencies, it adds harmonics, but not as much as the 1176. And we still can hear them, but it's a lot more subtle. I don't know if you could hear that. Let's see, what about the UAD version of the LA-2A? Same thing, a few more harmonics, but not a crazy difference. Very subtle. Let's see with the API 2500. Very transparent. We can see a small harmonic here, close to minus 100 dB. That's very hard to hear. And same thing with the UAD version. Now let's hear it on some real music. We have some drums here, and first let's see the sound of the 1176. You can see it here. This is the clean drums, and I'm going to be toggling between the waves and the UAD version of the 1176. So a couple of things here. Obviously, the UAD version of the plugin sounds a lot louder, but actually when we see the level, the peak level, it's the same than the waves version. You can see it's minus 10, and the UAD also. So it's a lot more compressed, even though in the meters, the settings are the same. And you can see here, the attack and the release are the same. And the meters are showing minus 10 maximum dB reduction, right? You can see the needle going to minus 10 here. And the same thing in the UAD version. But we get very different results, so that's an interesting difference here. Now let's hear the waves LA-2A. First the clean audio again. Now, kind of the same things happens here. We are getting about 6 dB of reduction, but in the UAD version, we can hear it a lot more compressed. Also, we can appreciate that the attack and release values for this compressor is a lot slower than in the 1176, so we can hear a lot more of the transient going through. Now, let's hear the API 2500. First, the clean drums. We can hear the difference there, and it's same thing. About 6 dB of reduction, very different sounds. Most of the difference we can hear is in the fact that the UAD version is compressing a lot more than the Waves version. Let's hear the 1176 with bass and then with guitar. A lot of difference. You see how much more character we can hear in the 1176? It's a lot more gritty, a lot more distorted. It's a beautiful sound. Let's hear the guitar now. First the clean guitars. Now, the difference is not that much as with the bass, in my opinion, here between the Waves and the UAD versions of the 1176. Of course, my hearing is not perfect. Someone with more experience than I can probably hear it clearly. It's not that apparent to my ears. Let's check out the LA-2A. First with the bass. Clean. Now I can hear how it adds a little bit of low energy there, maybe in the low mids. Let's see the UAD version. Yeah, now I can hear it clearly. It's that warmth. It's a little bit more present with the UAD version of the plugin. That also could be that the compressor is compressing more than the Waves version of it, so it's hard to tell. Let's see with the guitars. Yeah, very similar. It's hard to me. With the guitars, it's particularly hard for me to tell. Now let's hear the 2500. Yeah, definitely the API 2500 from UAD is compressing a lot more than the Waves version. But all in all, I think that in terms of the frequency response is very transparent. It's not adding a lot of harmonics, as we saw when we looked at the frequency analyzer. So yeah, very interesting. I really had my doubts on what was the difference between these compressors and also the difference between the Waves and UAD versions of it. Of course, we can read a lot of things online and learn a lot from what other producers can say about them and about their experience with these compressors, but nothing beats trying them out for yourself. That's it for this video. I hope you liked it. I hope you took something away from it. And let me know in the comments again. Like, subscribe, Let me know what you think. Let me know which one did you like the most, if there were differences that I couldn't hear. Let me know how you use these compressors. If there's anything else that you would like to see on this channel so that I can make videos about it and find different interesting things to learn and to share. So thank you for watching. See you on the next one.